Okay, so everything was pretty rehearsed and scripted. Now is the part where I go off key and give you guys a comparison of the V7 versus some of its competitors in that sort of retro motorcycle kind of category. Let me show you what I have for you. Obviously, we have the 50s and 60s kind of represented by the Triumph Bonneville, which is sort of your base standard default when you think of this kind of genre. Then you have the Moto Guzzi V7 that we've been testing out. And then you have Kawasaki Z900RS. This is really 50s, 60s style, 60s, 70s style, 70s, 80s style, all in a row. How do they all compare? Now, last review I did on the 2014 V7, I really went in detail against this Bonneville because it was kind of the same sort of generation timeline as that V7. Now this is not really a fair comparison because one's from 2009, one's from 2023. However, Bonnevilles in general, they tend to still be really, really smooth, almost Japanese-like in fact. They're very plain Jane. There's not a whole lot of characters. Some of the newer high torque motors are a little bit better. Still not as characterful as the V7 is. A lot of people who want to be individuals will buy a Bonneville, a Thruxton, a Street Cup, Street Twin, and these individuals all end up kind of on the same motorcycle. Whereas when you get the V7, this is something that is actually very unique in comparison to Triumph. V7 also benefits from just, a lot of characterfulness. You won't have the same established dealer network. You won't have the same established aftermarket selection on the V7 as you will on the Bonneville. That's just kind of the name of the game until Moto Guzzi gets more and more established. But man, these guys are popping up new dealers left, right, and center these days, so I think that that's going to change very, very soon. And Kawasaki, this is kind of separate from the other bikes because this is very much like it's much more on the modern side. In terms of inline 4, this is really your Japanese thing as opposed to your classic European style bikes. This is where all the power is. This is the most smooth of the bunch, most power and performance of the bunch, best brakes, best suspension of the bunch. However, you're paying the most price of the bunch. So while it is worth considering as it is, just as much of a kind of modern classic or retro inspired bike as the other ones, it's not necessarily price-wise in the same league. And you may be wondering, where's that Royal Enfield Interceptor 650? Well, it's not here, it's in the shop getting fixed. No, just kidding. I would not feel comfortable buying an Interceptor 650 yet. I've made videos about that, I've reviewed that bike, you can check that out on my channel. I also would not feel comfortable recommending you that bike. However, I do feel comfortable recommending any of these three to you, so that's where we're going to kind of focus right now. The Bonneville, if you don't have a Guzzi dealer too close to you and you have a Triumph dealer right down the street, it's not a bad bike whatsoever. It is going to be kind of boringer and more plain, and that's okay, and some people are going to like that, and they're going to like all of the bolt-on aftermarket stuff. Fair enough. The V7 really is something different, something special. It's a little bit more shorty friendly, it's a little bit more beginner rider friendly in a way. Your brain, when you go from like a Japanese bike, if it's not your first bike, to this, your first day will kind of be a bit of a transition until you kind of get used to this. It has its own character and its own particular peculiarities, quirks, that kind of stuff. The V7 is a great bike if you have max budget and want max performance. Z900RS is a nice bike. For this though, let's focus on the V7. I like it, would not hesitate to recommend that to you, which is a big step up from where it was 9 years ago. This is night and day, such a better bike.